Okay, so welcome then
Hey,
to the podcast.
thanks for having me here.
Yeah, so the reason why I want to do this podcast, right, is actually just to kind of like just inform people a bit more about what to expect at their job lah.
I see.
So basically we just keep it casual lah. We
Okay.
don't have to make it so tense and so awkward.
Okay,
Yeah,
no
yeah, yeah.
problem.
So Dan, so how are you, man?
I've been okay, I think, but these few days have been a bit tiring.
Why
I think because recently my project has like launched already in a sense lah. So because my team is quite lean in the sense that there's only like 2 people for now.
Yeah.
So we have to do like kind of developmental work on a project. Maybe I can, as well as support work. Maybe I can explain a bit of what I do lah. So the thing is that I work in kind of like a internal IT apps development area of Singtel. So actually, what we do is we build apps for the company, the staff to actually like we build the apps to support them and actually like increase the productivity. So the thing is that the current app that I'm doing, right, is supposed to help other employees actually like have a kind of like a portal or central place where they can access all the other productivity apps that they use, maybe their emails and some other kind of apps that they use for HR and stuff like that. And so like this particular app is actually like a mobile app for them to kind of manage the rest of the other apps, so that they have a kind of like a central place to access the rest of the apps lah. It's meant more for them not to get like this thing called app fatigue, because can you imagine like you have so many apps that you have to like download and use for your company. I think you'll get fed up, and just like choose not to use them anymore. So this is meant to counteract that. Meant to make the employees' experience a bit more enjoyable, if you say.
So wait, the app you're talking about is internally Singtel is using, or like you're talking about other businesses are also using?
No. It's only internally Singtel.
Oh, so internally you're trying to help the people in Singtel to basically help them to manage their tasks better, manage the apps.
Yes, in a sense, yes. That's what it does. It's because it's a productivity app. It's meant to be like a supporting platform to other employees as well.
Yeah. So actually, I found it quite interesting. Quite actually, I know you for quite a while already. I know you for 3 or 4 years already, right? Or is it 5 years? I feel like I know you for 3-4 years, but I feel like I don't know you as well. Yeah, but the thing is that I find it interesting is that how you studied film, right? In NTU. So then after that, now you're doing something to do with back-end engineering. You're doing like some software engineering in Singtel. So actually, I'm very, very curious, right, as to why you get into film first. And then how you learn all this back-end stuff, and then how do you end up getting into Singtel? I think this is something that I found it quite interesting. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll start with like how I got into film first. Yeah. So the thing is that after my JC, right? What my school is kind of like the equivalent of JC lah. But after my JC, right, I actually was applying for uni. And I think in my first year of application, right, I applied for. Actually, I didn't originally intend to do the arts. I applied for chemical engineering. If you, if you're familiar with that, but I didn't get accepted lah.
Wait, NTU or NUS?
NUS.
Oh, okay.
Applied to other courses in NTU as well. I think sciences and some materials thing, but I didn't get that also. So the time I was kind of down lah, and then however, like during my army years, the thing is that I actually picked up programming. That's when I started programming. Actually, I started with some kind of like HTML and JavaScript. because back then in the army, right, I was posted to some location in MinDev, although I'm not gonna say where lah, but basically I had the opportunity to actually learn coding, and as well as I use that what I learned actually to kind of build simple systems for people inside my department or my unit lah, if you will lah, to actually do certain jobs lah.
So
mainly like web.
So they actually pay you to do it, or they teach you how to do it, or you learn it to learn it yourself, like during army
I
itself?
learn it from my other NS friends lah, who were also doing that lah, because my department mainly focused on my unit mainly focused on some IT things. Things.
So okay, so you did HTML and JavaScript.
Yeah.
So was it easy? Was it easy to?
The first time I started to fiddle around with it, I think it took like a while to actually get used to it, because I wasn't like too familiar with coding yet, I think, and also I was still not quite like used to like how logic works and all that thing. But once you slowly start to pick it up and you actually achieve certain like small goals, right, you actually find it can be quite a rewarding experience, especially like getting something that you maybe were debugging for the last 2 hours to actually like finally work, right? I think that is where the payoff comes.
So the first project you have, was it very, very difficult? Like when you first was doing the MinDev project, right? Like, was it difficult, or was it like something that was very easy? And
I think right now when you look at it, right, it seemed to be very easy, but at that time, I think I spent like a few like days trying to like find out how to kind of do like some kind of, in a sense, a simple keyword search function, like over a data source, if you will.
Okay.
And that right now, if you look at it, right, it can actually be done quite simply. But then at the time, because I didn't know coding so well, right, so it actually took quite a few days to figure out what was wrong with my code. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I managed to solve it, and that was like, a payoff lah, personally to me. Once I managed to actually get it to work lah.
But how do you start though? Because actually I also went and try like doing some coding lessons. Like they have this free website called Free Code Camp, is it? Or free something. I can't remember what it's called, like Code Academy or something like that.
Yeah.
Then they'll give you like different stages of like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and then they start HTML first. Then you have to build a website. Then they will give you like step by step. So the thing that I want to ask is like how do you get from the 1.1 stage to build like a website or something like that? Like how do you even start this thing? How do you even like? Because for me, when I first started, right, I really get lost from like 1.1. I'm like, what is this backspace? Then have to type this, then slash, then something else, and then space bar and enter and tab, all this thing.
I think when you start, right, you have to be a bit patient with yourself lah, because you can't expect yourself to actually follow like meet or know the best practices, follow certain conventions. Even I don't know the best practices, I'm still like kind of like still early on in training lah, I would say. And so you have to be patient with yourself. I think that's one thing. Second, I think it'll be better to actually have like not just actually follow a tutorial, because tutorials are good, but the thing is that I think if you have a project in mind actually to build, I think that makes it all the more better, because the thing is that you have a goal to work towards.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And of course, I think it's okay to be ambitious even with your starting project. It's just that you must be patient. You must understand that it may take some time for you to actually acquire those skills and be able to reach that certain level. And then subsequently, once you manage to like actually build what you are aiming for, right, I think you can continue to improve it. I think another thing is that you may also choose to break down your huge goal into like smaller goals, in the sense that maybe this day I choose to achieve like a certain functionality of the thing that I'm building. If I manage to hit this goal, I feel happy because I have actually like managed to achieve what I set out to do for that particular day, you know. Even if you haven't finished the whole thing, right? Like bit by bit, you actually see that you're making progress.
But that's if you're, I'm not sure whether in the army they give you a very strict deadline lah. Or is it like a free?
Oh
easy
no,
thing?
because
Yeah.
during that time, right, that was actually not my main job lah. But
Oh,
that was side projects that I was given to do while actually doing my main kind of data entry kind of thing.
also this side project there's no time limit one lah. It's just based on your own time, own target.
That I was very fortunate to have that lah. Yes.
Oh.
So, but this side project is kind of like enhance what we did for like, because mainly we do like data entry lah, you know, as clerks lah, you know.
Yeah.
So this side project actually help us to actually do the data entry faster, and not just that, I think also like organize data actually. So in a way, it was beneficial for all of us because we just like, you know, just fill in and then I click a button, right, form submit, add to the database.
Also, you're trying to build something to help to kind of again, like make it easier for people to write the data and
yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Also, you've been doing that so you did that side project for about 2 years in NS.
No, I did a few side projects in NS actually, cause that was just like one of the few projects that I did. I think I also picked up actually like Visual Basic scripting in NS also. So we did actually like custom functions or macros for our Excel also when we had to do data processing and entry lah. And I think that sped up like a lot of processes also.
Okay, I think I want to clarify what NS is for those people who are viewing.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there'll be 0 viewers but I just want to clarify that NS is like a 2 years compulsory military service for all males in Singapore. And yeah, so then Daniel actually was able to learn some coding during his army time, which is good. Because during my time in national service, I didn't really learn much. It's more like a 9 to 5 every day, and I just try to get out of work every day, and yeah, that's my goal, was just to get out as quickly as possible. And then after that, so after army you got into, so film was your what choice when you were entering university? Because you said chemical engineering was your first choice,
so
right?
when I reapplied for the uni second year, right?
Yeah.
My first choice were changed to computer science and engineering.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
The second and third choices were both engineering or science choices, but I chose to add art as a fourth choice, because the thing is that back in high school I actually did like fine arts as one of my...
Fine arts?
Yes, fine arts. Like drawing, painting, and the like lah. I don't know how to describe. Yeah lah, some arts lah basically as one of my subjects lah. And so I mean, because my grades weren't like super fantastic. I mean, when I graduated from kind of like the JC level, high school or whatever you will lah. So I mean, I applied for art as well lah, ADM lah, NTU. And so it stands for Art Design Media, ADM by the way. So I applied for that as my fourth choice. Originally didn't expect to like get in there lah, but during my second year I got one offer only, and that was from Art Design Media. So I took it during that time lah, and I took it with the intention of actually like going into this major called interactive media. So what they do is like game design, as well as game programming, because I thought that would be like interesting to me lah, and it's still aligned with my interests.
So wait, that's a specialization for EDM.
Yes. EDM, yes.
Okay, so that's your second year you specialize, or the first year?
So the thing is that based on your first semester results, you kind of like choose what you want to do, and then if let's say you do super well, you're given priority to actually like
choose whatever you want,
choose your specialization. So based off your first sem results, right, we kind of got streamed already. And that's the thing. So I chose interactive media as my first choice, right, for specialization, right. The thing is that I didn't get it lah, because I think the first year was quite competitive, and I think that particular year, I think a lot more people actually wanted to choose interactive media, which previous years I heard that it wasn't that popular. Strangely enough, right?
Yeah.
It became popular that year. So I got into filmmaking instead. At first I was quite disappointed.
Okay.
But I decided to just continue.
Yeah.
And I think like throughout my time in ADM, like doing film, I actually learned different skills, like how to tell a story, as in how to write for film as well, how to actually use a camera, although I can't really remember so much of the technical details, but I do know how to compose a shot at least. I do know the terminology behind like certain ways of actually doing shots, but then when it comes to like things like f-stop and all those technical details about a camera, I can't exactly remember because the camera wasn't exactly in my area of interest during that time. However, I did do maybe a more of a film specialization in like sound.
Oh, in sound.
And also I did a bit of production as well. So as a producer, I think what I learned, right, being a producer is you learn how to solve problems.
Yeah.
You learn very practical things like how to kind of like link up with people, get help and sources. Really, because as a producer, right, you have to do everything. You have to plan out the film schedule for everybody. You have to work with a director. Whatever they want, you're supposed to acquire as a producer.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
of course you can negotiate but basically you're a negotiator, problem solver. And so I think that was actually a very good skill to actually like pick up also in film. I think it teaches you how to think fast in a sense certain times, and how to problem solve.
Okay, so you did filmmaking in
uni. But at the same time, I never like lost that interest in coding.
Oh,
So I took like a minor in computer science.
that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes
during my
sense.
uni years.
Yeah, but I realized that actually, was there a lot of people in filmmaking in your cohort during that time?
No, not a lot. Only
Not a
about
lot, right?
20 plus.
But were they very very sell on, or very very interested in like making movies, or are they just like
I think most of them actually like move on, right, to actually do film actually. So yes, I would say that they're quite sell on.
oh,
And they are quite passionate, I would say. Some of them even drop out, like
that's normal lah,
to do their own YouTube career.
Yeah, cause I think like, I mean no offense, I don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah,
but the thing is that
worry.
but the thing is that in Singapore I feel that things like filmmaking or fine arts, right, it's not
necessary to get a degree, right? Yes.
It's not saying necessary, but it's not like how do I say this? Like, it's not something that the government kind of like push people to want to like achieve, or like there's not a lot of funding, or not a lot of like recognition for people like that. It's not like you're discovering like it's like a scientist or engineer or like a doctor, or computer science, computer engineer. So that's why I saying that it's like I'm quite surprised that I mean there's still people who goes into filmmaking lah. Yeah, because when I first heard it that you did film in NT, I was like, wow, you must be very interested in like like movies, or like you want to write your own movie, or like you're interested in all those like Hollywood stuff, and then after that I realized that you were not that interested in it, and then you were more interested in doing coding and stuff. Yeah. So the thing is that you say that some of your friends actually branch out to do like their own YouTube. So how successful are they though at now? Doing YouTube and stuff.
I mean, okay, for those the two that I know who did YouTube, I don't know how successful they are. I can't remember if they actually gotten more popular in the recent years lah. But I know that at one time, I think something that they did got viral actually on something about Yishun, or was it like Yio Chu Kang being some like dark place in Singapore?
Oh, yeah, I did Yishun. Wait, the two of them are working together.
Two of them working together. I mean, if
Okay.
you ever heard of JUO Productions, right?
JOU.
JUO Productions.
No man.
I know that my one of them, right, is actually kind of like also an actor. So I see him sometimes on like some advertisements or something like that. So
Also, he's really in the industry already before he joined.
yes, and I think that's why he also like decided not to continue with his studies because he already has like his own gig already.
Yeah, the back here. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, so did that make you want to do like your own YouTube channel as well?
No, not YouTube.
Like,
not YouTube.
Like the 4 years you were in uni, right? Has it changed you to like, okay, I want to do a bit of filmmaking myself? Like,
no, not exactly filmmaking. But the thing is that like I still haven't given up like this kind of like dream that I have to actually like make a game because I think filmmaking and games are a bit different.
Yeah,
they're similar because
correct.
The thing is that you are telling a story.
Yeah,
like a narrative and I think I have not lost my appreciation for the arts, even though I'm doing like computing, I'm doing software related, because I'm still working towards the goal, right?
Yeah.
And one day I can like build games because I can tell stories through that medium.
Yeah, correct.
And I can do it like interactively.
Yeah.
So I think that is one of my kind of end goals, you could say.
To build a game, like an app, like to be a game designer kind of
yes, kind of. Not exactly a game designer, but maybe a producer.
Oh, wait, what's the difference between a producer and a designer of a...
So like for example, if you're a designer, you do like the... Okay, I do not... Because there are different areas of design. There's like level design, so you design like maybe the world.
Okay.
Or there's other forms of design as well. Like if you're going to be a 3D modeler or something like that, right?
Yeah.
That's also a form of design. But then there's also like designer in a sense that you plan out the world. But I think in like when you say you're a producer, right, you kind of like take up a similar role to like a film producer, like in a sense that you actually like manage everything.
Yeah.
But not just manage, but you kind of like, I think there's a degree of direction that you also have
okay.
in the project as well.
So who is actually the person in charge, the designer or the producer itself? Like, if you put them...
Okay, if you're doing like indie games, right, the thing is that like independent productions,
Yeah.
you can be the designer and the producer as well.
Okay.
And you can be a one-man show, make the game as well.
Wait, one person can just make the game? Like one person?
Yeah, it depends on how ambitious you are for the project. If you're trying to make Maple Story, right, one person, right, I say no go, man. I think you take like forever. But the thing is that if it's a simple game, you start off with a simple game or simple proof of concept idea, right?
Okay, what's a simple game first?
How do I say? Like, I think, for example, okay, this is a bad example, but Flappy Bird is a simple game. I can code it, right, within like 1 day.
But
release it.
But it's such a like what's it called? It's such a
viral.
Yeah, such a viral.
Right?
Yeah, it's a viral game that that they took it off they took it off either the App Store or the Play Store, and then people are people who downloaded the game. Oh wait, it's an Apple Store, because I remember that people are selling the iPhones. So people are selling the iPhones on either Carousel or eBay, right? They have the game Flappy Bird, and they sell it for they mark up by like 2-3 times the price, just because they never deleted the app. Because the people who still kept the app before the app was taken off the store, right, are still able to play the Flappy Bird game. And there are people who actually pay a lot of money just to buy the phone to play that game. Yeah. So you're saying that Flappy Bird itself was a game that was created by just like one, but it's created by one person.
It can be created by one person because like I have, okay, so in one of my kind of like programming classes, I've created Flappy Bird actually.
Oh.
Yes,
okay,
and all of us had to create Flappy Bird. As in, it's a simple game to create. It's just that I mean, as an artist, right, you probably wouldn't want to create this and release that, and I mean, if you're making it for money, right, sure, go ahead. Like, I think if you want to make money, right, then I think the best route is to actually create like multiple mini games and release them on a mobile platform,
Yeah.
And then eventually, right, you're gonna like amass some amount of dough doing that. But I think, I mean, if you want to go further with your craft, right, then I mean, I think it's also good, right, to have like a story that you actually want to tell, and then from there on, right, you build up on it, but as well as also build a world. I mean, if you depends on what type of game you want to create now.
So what are some games that you play and that you feel that it's very, how do I say this? It's very, that uses a lot of designing, a lot of coding, a lot of like you feel that the game has a lot of how do I say this? Has a lot of work to be done. That you need a lot of thinking and designing.
Oh, a lot of games actually need a lot of work to be done. I think one of the games that I can think of offhand
Yeah.
is right now, at least that I'm playing
Yeah.
is kind of like, okay, so one of the games I'm playing right now is Genshin Impact.
Oh yeah.
And so the thing about it is that actually, if you notice, right, the programmers, not really the programmers, but the designers, the world level designers, actually, like, and they work together with their team.
Yeah.
And they actually like put in a lot of detail, right, in what they actually made for the game. Like, for example, like if let's say there are houses in the game, then you go close to like a window, right, inside the house, right, you can actually hear what people say in the house, kind of like eavesdrop,
Oh, they make it so
in detail,
realistic.
And the thing is that they come up with like stories for the game, and they actually like have to link up the stories like from one to another. This is called continuity. Like in film, you also know that actually when you like create a story, your story has to flow, and certain details, right, if you make a mistake, you skip it or you forget about it, right, and then you make a contradiction at the later part of the story, right?
Yeah.
The audience, some of them will catch it,
Yeah.
So the thing is that you have to ensure continuity in your flow of your story as well. And the thing is that as a game designer, you have to do, or as a game story writer, you also have to do the same thing. You have to ensure continuity. You have to remember what you wrote. You can bring it back also and add it to a different point of time in the game, And I think all this takes like a lot of detail, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of passion also as a be it a designer, a storyteller, to actually like remember all this, right, and then bring it back, And I think it takes a big team to actually do it. I'm definitely like all the programming, all the modeling, the design. Someone has to draw the images. One thing. Another game that I can think of that has quite a lot of detail is, I think Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, and all that. They also actually added a lot of this kind of details in. But it's been quite a long time since I played Skyrim. But I remember it was the key to like a good game is the same as like a good film. You want to immerse the audience. You want them to be caught in the world. You want them to forget that they're actually playing a game, but actually experience the world, right? As if they were inside the world, And how you do that is use narrative devices.
Narrative devices, like
in filmmaking, right? I mean, first, like one thing is that you don't. There are many like narrative devices, like sound. I don't know how to describe it, like or to capture people,
to make them want to like feel like they're already immersed in the environment.
Yes.
Oh yeah, actually you told me about the Genshin Impact, right? And then you told me that you were able to play it both on your phone and on the PC, right?
That's called crossplay, yes.
Yeah. So are there a lot of games right now that are doing that? Like doing this kind of like
able
to do, or is it just this is like something very new that Genshin?
I don't think it's very new, but I think not many games actually implement it well.
Okay.
And games, especially games that were built on older technologies, right?
Yeah.
They find it a bit more difficult to actually migrate over to the system that actually supports it.
Like what games?
Okay, so one game that I used to play, I mean, maybe I'll still play it eventually, but so there's this game called Warframe. I don't know, it used to be pretty popular, but the thing is that they have the game over like multiple platforms. So they have like Warframe on PlayStation, Warframe on computer, but they don't support crossplay, even though for the longest time they said they wanted to actually do crossplay. I think one of the reason why they actually don't support like being able to play on PS5 and PC together, right? One of the reasons is because I mean they work on a technology that has been built for them, or rather they built like me 10 years ago. And then the thing is that to actually like maybe that technology during the time crossplay was not thought of.
Yeah.
They didn't think of actually building it in such a way where this is only my speculation but where PC and PS people can play together lah. So the thing is that as they continue to build on top of the game,
Yeah.
they were built using the engine, particular platform lah,
Yeah.
that they have, and then the game gets bigger and bigger. But the thing is that once you want to introduce like the crossplay, right, that you have to actually start from ground up, change the engine, and then that may actually cause like ripple effects, in the game. So it's actually very difficult to migrate depending on how you actually design the game as well. So in a sense, that's where programming is important, because for example, if you don't design your code right with future in mind, right, or with a certain future in mind, right, then these things happen, where you want to extend the functionality of it, but the foundation wasn't there, so it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy because back in the past nobody knew that say the PS that people want to play on PS5 on the computer, and now even the mobile phones, right? I mean, like, no one know that everyone will start using mobile phones, like everything they do, they need to use their mobile phone. So yeah, I think you probably need quite a very long-term vision for this. Yeah, because I think even now MapleStory is even on mobile also, right?
But you realize that they're separate, right?
They're two different.
I don't know. I don't think you can play Maple mobile and connect to the Maple on PC. You know what I mean?
Also, it's two different games.
Yes, I think so.
Oh, actually, I'm not very sure. So, but I always see like people like on Instagram playing it. Then I'm like, oh, I didn't know MapleStory now is on mobile. Because last time, all we do is just play on the desktop. Yeah, and yeah, that's something.
I'm not quite sure about that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe we can.
So actually, so you say you're very interested in doing game design, right? Like, so actually, why didn't you try applying to like game designing companies after you graduate, instead of, let's say, doing like now you're saying you're doing coding in Singtel, being a software engineer in Singtel.
I mean, the thing is that like at the time I want to actually be an independent developer for games. So I think as an independent developer, right, you actually need to learn development.
Yeah.
And so like I wanted to actually get more of like a development job first But I could choose a development. I could choose to try and apply for a development job at a game company It's just that I think I first and foremost I think I wanted to get like the proper programming skills to actually like build software, and as well as the programming soft skills like learning about software development lifecycle, learning the best practices in code and design. Still learning, definitely. I've just only been doing like about 6 to 7 months in a Singtel traineeship, and so I think I will not say that like maybe like it is the most, I mean the best place I could start is a good place is the thing to actually like learn code, and actually doing this job is a good place to learn code and learn code design and all that, because some of the principles that you actually get from like maybe be it actually like software development, even for maybe productivity apps, right? Some of the principles actually do carry over, like certain ways of designing a software. There are certain best practices and I think it's good to have those actually best practices being instilled in you as you code because you do want to, I think even as an indie developer, right, you do want to actually produce something that's good. You don't want to do spaghetti code if what they say So I think it is it's good for me to like get some practice, and actually learn the ropes also because I will say that I'm still definitely not very very experienced technically, and as well as in terms of work So I think I mean I will continue to actually like pick up software development skills, but at the same time I think I definitely won't like lose sight of this goal that I do have that to actually become maybe an independent developer and do some simple games at the start
Yeah.
maybe, and then build up from there, I think.
So what are some softwares that you need to learn? Like, or what are some softwares that you're using now that you think can be brought over to game design? Like I should say what software do you need to learn to be able to do like game design? Like you say you learn HTML and you learn Java in Army, right? So do you think that those are enough for you to do a game, or do you need to learn other languages like, I don't know, Python or Swift or something like that?
Okay, so if you are planning to do a game for web, right? So
Yeah.
if you're playing, depends on the platform that you're planning to do a game on. So if you're planning to do a web game, there are libraries that can actually help you to make games in just JavaScript. One of them is called phaser.io. But that's if you're planning to make games for a web platform.
Wait,
So
sorry, I don't get it. So there's a place for you to
so a library is like a collection of code
okay,
that somebody made.
yeah, right?
A few people, actually, it could be a group organization made
Yeah.
for the purpose of actually like making it easier for other programmers. So one of these library is called phaser.io that I've learned and this is for web games. So you can use JS, code your own custom kind of JS script.
JS is JavaScript.
Yeah, JavaScript. You can use JavaScript.
Okay.
Code your game in JavaScript.
Yeah.
And then use the phaser.io to actually run that JavaScript game.
Okay.
You have to learn how to use the library though first before you are able to make. But basically, what they did is they make the core JavaScript code for you to be able to run a game already inside a web platform. That's what Phaser does.
So you have to first code the game first on yourself.
No. So you learn the library, and then as you learn the library, you write the code, but the code is in JavaScript for the game. So the library has like some custom functions, maybe like or not custom functions, custom entities, if you will, like objects. Like you can create a character already, or entity, or how do I describe it? Like it has some custom objects like gravity. How do you simulate gravity in a screen? It has the ability to render a screen.
Okay,
the ability to refresh every like once per 24th of a second, and then you rerun that loop, right? In order to give you that game simulation. So that library has already been coded for you. You just have to learn how to use it, and then you learn the specifics of the library, and then you code on top of it.
Oh, okay. So you use the library as like a support.
As a framework.
As a framework, yeah. As a framework of what you want to do.
But that's for web games. So if you ask me, right, yes, you can actually code the game using JS actually on web. You can even actually make your own library if you're good enough. But I think it would be, I mean, that's if you really want to, because I think it'll be very tiring.
What about app games, like on let's say on
mobile
Play Store, mobile and all that?
Okay, so mobile, right, there are a few approaches but like if you do want to make a web game and you do want to make one with graphics, then I suggest to use a framework that already exists, like Unity. Yeah.
So but Unity is you can use for both.
Unity has the ability to actually generate like installable packages for both Android, iOS, and a lot of other platforms. PC, Google Stadia, if you've ever heard of it, and PlayStation also. So Unity can generate like your package for
cover everything.
Not everything, but a lot of platforms. So Unity is one of those free studios out there, or software out there, that actually a lot of even professional game companies actually use to design their games.
Yeah. So it's called Unity.
Yeah, Unity.
Oh, what? I didn't know. I didn't know that. I always thought that when you do game design, right, it's like basically someone just write the code and then you just send that code to the Apple Store and say, okay, I want to do this game, and then they will approve it, and then something will happen at the back end.
That's if you want. That's if you want to do from scratch, lah. But even if you want to do from scratch, you have to write your own backend code. Also, that's the thing, you know. You know what I mean? Unless you want to do a game that functions solely on your phone and doesn't rely on any other data outside.
Okay. so okay. What does that mean? Meaning you solely on your phone, but
so the thing is
outside.
that there are games like, for example, Pokemon.
Yeah.
The old Pokemon, right? You didn't need to connect to internet, you know.
Yeah, correct.
Because all your data is on your device, your Game Boy.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to code like a Pokemon,
Yeah.
I have to on Android, and I don't want to use an engine. I would have to actually learn how to use like the Android code to actually build a game and render the game right on my Android device, which is actually very tiring because you're actually building, in a sense, your own engine to run the game. Or you can just do. You can also don't do an engine. You can just code like every pixel if you want to, but that will be like
Forever.
I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, you know.
But have you ever played any game that you think when you play it, right, you think that this is like the most, like they have the developers have put in so much effort and so much, like basically like, they do their own engine, they did everything, they didn't use any fundamentals. Like do you give any examples of any games that you think they're like this, or like do you think all the games that you play use Unity? Or...
A lot of game companies actually have their own engine. If you think about it, right, they built their own engine, or they built it off like some. Even if they didn't build their own engine, I mean, they had to modify like a pre-existing engine to build the engine. So actually, right, a lot of game companies, right, which do have their own engine, they had to have a lot of manpower, but I think it takes a lot of effort to actually build the engine, or to build it up. A simple engine maybe not so difficult, but as you progress, right, I think you need more and more people to add on to that code bucket, you know. Like when you think of some functionality that you want to actually add on to that game engine, then you need to have a team of coders behind it. A lot of coding is also about this thing called abstraction. You have to think of what you want to achieve, and because you have to think of it in terms of like a design. So you have to, like for example, if I want to have a game that has, for example, gravity, but if I think further, what is gravity? Gravity is actually under like a group called forces, you know. So I want to have like a class in a sense called forces. So that is already like a level of abstraction in a sense that I'm going up further and abstracting this idea of gravity, you know, to forces. Then if I think of forces, how do I code forces, you know, in my game? I need to go up a level. Forces is maybe a type of entity, you know. Yeah, this is a term that will be used quite commonly in coding also. Entities. So it is a subset of this thing called an entity. So you have different entities, you know, like a character is also an entity, a force is an entity, you know. Like,
so you actually have to know.
That's if you are doing game engine design . I don't think you want to go to that . A lot of times, if you have the engine that's there for you already, use it, you know. But I mean, if you're interested, right, like sure, go ahead. I think I'm not that experienced enough. I'm not experienced enough to actually tell you how to build a game engine. But from what I have coded and what I have experienced, right, yes I think as a coder, as a software developer, right, you do have to have some knowledge about abstraction, and you have to work with other people because you have an idea of how to plan something. But maybe someone else has a better idea, so you have to rub against each other in a sense. You have to discuss, and I think having more minds, right, make it better in the long run. Because ultimately, right, you all can actually come up working together with other people on the idea and trying to come up with a design, right. I think it's better because you have more feedback, you know, and then eventually you all can come to a point, right, where you say, oh, this is the best design that we can come up together so far.
Yeah.
If one person designs, right, then it's only in one person's perspective, you know.
Yeah, correct. But also, if there's too many people who are trying to give their input, there also be cause disasters.
Yes.
Yeah, because some people say, maybe I don't like this, you know, like this.
So you just need to get like a few experienced people, maybe 1, 2, 3, right, to actually think of a design for me, a certain part of the thing.
Oh, wow, dude. I think you know a lot about game design, man.
No. This is from my experience in working on software development lah.
Wait, you also what you're working? So let's talk about you're working in Singtel now, right? So what you're learning now in Singtel has a direct like relation to game design as well.
Coding wise lah.
But coding wise is for you're doing back end, right? Like
Oh no, I have to handle actually I'm doing more front end. I'm mobile development trainee lah, mobile developer trainee lah. So the thing is that, but I know that a solution architect, right, or a person who actually comes up with design has to, as in, bounce ideas off someone, or maybe there'll be more than one people actually working on this idea. They come up with a design. It doesn't have to be the perfect one, but it has to be good. And this design, right, like has kind of like an abstraction of what you plan to do. And with this abstraction, right, like you can build on top of this plan, like your blueprint that you have done for your project.
Okay, so now you're doing more front end stuff. And honestly, when people talk to me about front end and back end, right, I just pretend that I know lah. I just pretend that front end, back end. But actually, to be honest, I don't even know what's the difference between.
So the front end will be the part of the app that is facing the client. So if let's say I'm a gamer, for example, let's talk in terms of game design. So the front end of my app is basically the game that I'm playing. Okay. I interact with this game. This is a game that is built as the front end. Okay. However, this game has to communicate to a server that actually does all the services lah, if you will. I do not know how to describe. But basically, it hooks you up with another player. It records your data also. It records your progress inside the game. And this is called the back end. You, as a client, you do not interface with it directly. Or you do not interact with it directly. You interact with the game that they're playing.
Okay, so the design part of the game is all front end. Like how the game is designed.
Yes.
And then so the coding part is for
both front end and back end.
But you use coding in the front end to develop like the characters and the
So you use coding in front end most of the time, right? All the code that actually runs on the computer, right? That actually is able to achieve the physics and all that thing, right? Yeah. It's all front end. It is built on the game engine itself and all that thing. Okay. The back end would be the server that is actually like helping you to hook up to another player or saving certain data that you can move across to another PC and use the same data. You know?
So that's if you want to do like a multiplayer thing one lah. If let's say you're doing like a Game Boy, then that's
totally like front end.
That's front end only.
No. If you are not interacting with the internet, right, then there's no back end per se lah.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. I always get very confused between, because we always say, front end is doing some this design and stuff. Then after that, they say front end will do coding as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, design also need to do coding. Yeah. So
the design, usually the designers don't have to do coding because they are usually specialized in design.
Yeah.
They may have to do some level of coding, but it's a bit simpler than the logic coding that they have to do from front end. Front end, you have to manage basically logic coding for the game client or the app client itself. Yeah. And then you have to manage that logic lah, because it's not just like pretty pictures or sorry. That's okay. Like areas that you can click, right? But the thing is that when you click those areas, right, they have to do something to send a signal back to the server lah. And so those logic, right, that sends signals back, right, is handled by some coders who actually do it.
It's usually the back end lah.
No, those coders who actually do the logic, right, have to do the logic on the front end first.
Do the front end
then the signal is sent to the back end, which the back end engineers will handle those things. If let's say I receive a signal from some other client, do something. Maybe I want to connect to another player, so I send a request to a server to connect me to some other player.
So can you get a guy who can do both front end and back end?
Actually, for web, right, a lot of people get this thing called full stack developers. So I have to do both back end and front end. Yeah, and it's a very tiresome job, but I think it pays very well.
Yeah, it should, because you're doing basically 2-person's job, right?
You're doing everything lah. But most of the time, back end developers don't only work by themselves unless your startup or lah.
So will you consider yourself more front end or you also know back end as well?
No, I specialize more. I have more experience in front end, but I have built a full stack before. When last time, before I even knew what a full stack is, because the thing is that I was working on some project for internship, and at the time, I was supposed to like just build some simple thing, right? But what I ended up learning was learning how to build like some kind of simple backend using this platform called Node.js.
I heard that Node.js. Node.js is it?
Node.js, yes. So
Okay.
it's like a framework that allows you to set up a server. But the code that you have to do for that server is all in JS. So as a JS user or as a full stack developer, you have the benefit in the sense that you only need to know one language to actually code both front end and back end.
So JS is probably the
JavaScript.
The most versatile one.
It's the de facto language of the web, I'll say. As a web developer. Reason why, but I think Node.js was built to kind of like support full stack developers.
Okay.
So that people who work on front end also have a not so difficult time working on their back end also. At least that's my guess.
So how many languages do you know like now? Like how many languages can you like do on the front end?
For front end, I know JS, some JS. I know Kotlin, that's the Android language.
Kotlin.
Yeah, it used to be Java actually.
Yeah, I thought it was Java.
Recently Google has been moving to this language called Kotlin, which is actually Java, but in terms of syntax is more similar to Swift or C kind of languages.
Swift is Apple, right?
Is Apple language.
Okay.
They decided to I guess make it more like Swift or like C languages if you will, because Swift is also based off this C language or Objective C if I'm not mistaken.
Is it the same as C++?
It's a family of languages, called the C-like languages.
Oh, dude,
so the original, I think the original language was called C.
Okay.
And then some guy went to create C++, which adds on to the C language. I've only worked with C. I haven't really touched C++. I tried, but the time I was learning object-oriented programming, mainly focused on Java. So when I tried like a bit of C++, I really like so used to Java, right? Like I didn't want to like go further in,
But how easy is it to learn like the new languages? Like, which one do you think someone start first before they want to learn other languages?
I think first before they start like thinking of learning languages, right? I mean, yes, they can choose a language to learn, but they have to learn more like programming concepts first, And I think that is better to actually start with actually learning the concepts behind it, because once you learn the concepts and you build a foundation, right, you can actually like move across languages a bit easier, I'll say. So one of the best language for beginners, I'll say, right, is still Python.
Just the most basic one, right? Python. So that's something that you think
it's not basic, but the thing is that it is easy to use.
Okay.
Easier to use, easier to learn with.
Have you heard of MATLAB?
Yes, I have done some coding with MATLAB long time ago. It was.
So do you think MATLAB or Python? Because I was learning MATLAB in uni lah. I feel like that's really very difficult for me.
MATLAB is specialized on calculations. I'll say it's a specialized scientific language.
Also, it's specific to that lah.
I think it's more specific to calculations and for sciences. In a way, I'll say Python is better, honestly, because Python is general purpose.
Okay.
Python, you can actually use it for more than just, definitely more than just like data science or whatever. You can, I mean, my first programming class, right? Programming 101 in NTU, whatever you call it, right? One of the first projects was actually to create a battleship game.
Game.
But yeah, with of course with no graphics, but what we did was we used text to render out the grids. Like
text to render out the grids.
So in Battleship you have a grid, correct?
Yeah, or the grid. Oh, the grid.
Yeah,
okay.
So we can use text to render a grid,
okay.
Sense. So those underscores and those pipes or those long bars, you to render a grid, you put X. there and all the thing.
So
So that's
right-
a simple kind of graphic in a sense already. Last time before we actually had a GUI or graphic user interface, right? People actually use text, and then they represent like graphics also using text.
Wait, when you say text, meaning you actually have to code it out and then you form like. Okay.
So
yeah.
you have to, in a sense, then you learn actually to actually write functions
Okay.
to actually code out a grid.
So
Because the thing is that if you're gonna like draw everything out, right, just by text, right, it would be much simpler to actually like kind of like define something that helps you do it really.
Oh, okay. So you first draw one, then you define that as something, then you just basically just copy and paste.
So you maybe you write learn how to write a function
Okay.
that is called render grid.
Yeah.
Then you have to think of a way to actually render that text or that
Yeah.
grid. So you have to think of a way to actually take in inputs. So the inputs that you will take in for a grid
Yeah.
will be, let's say a battleship's grid will be the size of the grid.
Yeah.
With the height, the length.
Okay.
And then also the other thing that you've taken input for is probably where the ships are. Because the
Yeah.
thing is that where you put a ship, right, your grid will also be rendered differently, like a bar, then a character for that ship, a 0 or X, then another the bar. So you have to take in all those inputs and try to find a way, right, to kind of like think of how you're gonna render that into text.
Wow. When you say
But I would say it
text,
trains your.
sorry, when you say text, right, you mean like you write the code, that text.
No, like text as in, because for Python, right, you don't
Yeah.
have an image or a GU graphic user interface, right?
Yeah.
So instead, right, you rely on outputs.
Okay.
So outputs being like I think you've done MATLAB before. You see the outputs, right? Like me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also that. Oh, okay. I get what you mean.
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think you know a lot of I think you know a lot more about game design and coding than I thought you'd be doing like filmmaking and stuff.
Oh no. I mean, I am still very. I would say I'm still very like green. I'm not like so. I'm definitely not industrial standard line. I think there's still a lot to learn lah.
I think you are, because you're already working at Singtel already, and they actually hire you based on your degree as a film degree, and they take you in, and now you're working there for about 8 months already, or 9 months.
Still a lot of improvement. Have to get better also.
Okay.
Oh, actually, there's a lot of. I realized working in Singtel, right, that there's actually quite a lot of. I mean, as a coder,
Yeah.
there's actually a lot of disciplines that you have to follow, and you have to follow certain structure lah. I think, which is, I think as a coder is a good practice. I don't know, it kind of challenges me to like balance a bit of creativity as well as structure.
Yeah.
Because I'm very used to kind of like a bit of a messy way of working now. But now, working in actually like in the industry, right, I learned that I have to actually be organized in the way that I do my work lah.
Oh.
I think that's very important. I think I'm learning that lah.
Okay. Do you know actually we are already recording for almost 1 hour already? I didn't know it. I was like, cause the camera only records for 30 minutes and then it cuts off. Anyway, they press again. Cause you know why? Cause they say that I read it online that if you want to sell a camera that have unlimited recording, right, they will have additional text to that, and they cannot classify it under camera. So every 30, so they only limit to 30 minutes, then you cut off and then you have to re-record again. So when I press it once, and then now it's going to shut off again. So we really do it for almost an hour already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember once in the US that I was trying to record like this guy interview in a documentary, and then my camera stopped functioning after a certain amount of time. So now I know why. Thanks for the information.
I didn't know that because actually I tried recording when I was alone lah. I was just see how long can it last. Because I don't see how long the battery can last. Then I just record in 29.59, just cut off. Then what happened? Then I went to check online and say, oh, there's a limit to all the DSLR or mirrorless cameras. Yeah. Okay. So now let's move on to, now we talk about your degree, your film, and you're doing game design, and then now let's talk more about your job. So now you're working in Singtel, doing more front end work.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah.
But this is not like customer facing. This is employee facing.
Yeah lah, more of that. And so what are some like day-to-day tasks you have to do? Because I mean I'm not sure what you do work every day lah. So when you come to work every day, so what's your day-to-day task? Is it something that is is it something that is always the same, or is it always different, or yeah?
I mean, previously in the development stage, right?
Yeah.
Because now is in like is really released, so there's still development lah. But previously in the development stage, right, it was just daily, right? We do have a stand-up meeting.
Okay.
So it is where actually the whole team, because we work together with some vendors also. So we get together online, and then we discuss our agenda for not just the day, but actually this thing called sprint. So in software development, right, there are a few ways to actually approach development. One of the methods is actually called the agile method.
Is it another software? Agile?
No,
it's
it's a methodology actually.
Okay.
It's a way to approach software. So last time, right, when people build software, right, what they do is that they have like requirements from a client, correct? Yeah. And then the thing is that they take these requirements, they build for very very long, and then after like very very long, they kind of like will release it. And then they realize, right, that actually clients change their requirements, change what they want, change what they desire for the software. Then they go back to the working on it and release another release but they basically charge the clients again in a sense but it becomes very inefficient because you have you work so long on one project, maybe a few months, then you release. After that, you don't like this.
wait, when you say clients, because you are saying you are dealing with internally.
We're talking about clients as in it's a software practice in general.
Okay.
Software development. This was called, I think, the waterfall method or whatever they call it. So they realized that why not we actually build in smaller iterations. So what they did was they come up with this thing called the agile method. Yeah, they come up with this thing called the agile method. I'm still not like super familiar with it, but basically what they do, right, is that they actually release their product very early on, but they release what they call a minimally viable product.
MVP,
Yes. And then they shorten their iterations into sprints. So the sprint can be like 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, I develop a new release based on my client's expectations. I release it, and then after that, I get feedback from them. In the next sprint, I make the changes, I make new developments, and develop and deliver another release within the next 2 weeks.
This is one project.
Yes,
just splitting into smaller.
Smaller iterations, and that's the agile method lah.
Okay.
So every day, right, we have like a daily meeting, right? So the stand up, right, will be a daily meeting of what actually has been achieved in a sprint.
Every day.
Yes, during development, actually every day we have to have a stand up now.
Okay.
What has been achieved, what we need help on, what needs to be debugged and all that thing. And if new issues we spot new issues, right, we also have to bring it up and then work through like how to solve it. That was previously before. So what we did was kind of like agile, but in a sense, the internal team is the client. The vendors were our developers in a sense.
Yeah, correct.
But now we have released to employees, right? So now, right, we still have to continue on the agile thing, but now like I have to be a support to the actual employees. Yeah. But as well as continue on development.
So it's something like a patch update every time. Let's say you have to. So
our patches will be in kind of like 2 weeks, but then what I do is that basically every day I do now every day I do like get kind of like if let's say there are any problems with the app, right? Yeah. I get the incidents. Yeah. So I respond to clients and help actually troubleshoot their problem. Yeah. Maybe I work around for now. Okay. But at the same time, I still have to work on development also, because there are actually certain things that they want to do for in the next release. So I have to do my development work as well. So it's something like called DevOps lah. Development
ops.
ops, yes.
So you're doing both, like doing both the troubleshooting and also the development of what's next.
Yeah, so I think in the sense you have to be a bit adaptive lah.
How big is your team now?
Internal team is only 2, so it's a bit difficult.
The whole Singtel is only 2 people.
Internal team lah, currently, including my boss, will be 3.
I mean, for the whole Singtel,
No, for this project.
Okay, for this project, it's only 3.
For this project,
okay.
only 3 people.
Okay.
But I mean, hopefully we will get a bit more people because eventually we're still getting like support lah from vendor lah, but like eventually we have to take over lah, and so we need more people lah.
So, what skills do you think you need to have when you apply for this job? Like what like basically you like what languages do you need to know when you apply for this job?
Kotlin, Android, because I applied for a mobile development role lah.
Yeah.
And I think that was what at least I needed to have some basics lah.
Yeah lah, correct.
And thankfully I did have some basics lah, as in for Kotlin, because the thing is that I coded an app before actually, and for our church lah.
Okay.
And actually it's thanks to that that actually managed to learn this language actually.
Oh, so during the interview itself, how do they test you on like your skills or something like that?
Okay, because I applied for a traineeship role, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that my boss just asked me questions lah. And while like he did ask me like some technical questions, they weren't too in depth, I'll say. Because it was a traineeship role, I think. But I mean, I did let him know like what I know during the interview, and I think subsequently, thankfully, he decided to hire me as a trainee.
Yeah, but it was just based on trust lah. Like he didn't like give you a test or like ask you to like, because usually when I hear from other people, they tell me, oh, there's a test that you have to do and you have to solve this and don't know do what, and then send back this.
I know what you mean. I've gone through some interviews and I had to do
the test,
some
right?
technical tests.
Yeah.
I managed to pass some tests, but some of them I didn't manage to lah.
But were the tests like difficult, or like what do they test on these tests?
Some of them are actually pretty difficult lah. Like okay, there's one right.
Yeah, give me some difficult ones. Yeah.
Okay, so I applied for like a
name the company, man.
a front end developer role, right? Name the company. I mean, okay, since I'm not working for this company.
Yeah, it's not working for
I mean, it's called Beyond Soft lah, but
okay.
It's I'm actually like applied for. This is more like a congregation of smaller companies, but
okay.
What I was gonna do is like in a smaller company under this large group lah called Beyond Soft lah. So the thing is that I applied for this one was a front end position, but not for mobile. This one was web.
Okay.
So within like 1 hour, right, or 1.5 hours, they give me like a series of tasks to complete.
Okay.
I tell you, this task, right, like I don't think the test was designed for you to complete them all.
Okay.
Unless you're super experienced.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that actually this task, right, some of them were not simple. That's the thing.
How many tasks were there like in this?
Like 6, and some of them involve like you actually like making calls to like HTTP calls to like a certain server lah, I know, I think.
HTTP calls. Like,
you have to code the front end and make basically make calls to a certain endpoint lah.
Okay.
And the thing is that because I'm more used when I'm coding web at least, right, I'm more used to using this thing called jQuery lah, which is like a library for JS. So I have extra tools to support me when I do this jQuery. But then without the jQuery, right, like just using JS myself, right, I really had to reference a lot of things to try and actually like complete that test.
Reference from where though?
Online sources lah. So the thing is that I think as a coder you still need to Google, even if you have coded for so long, because especially if you work on multiple projects, right, like you will forget the syntax behind something. But as long as you have the core, right, concepts, right, it's very easy to just take back the syntax, right, code, get it done, you know.
So for the Beyond Soft interview, so how much do you complete how much you manage to complete the 6 tasks out of 6?
I think I completed about 60 to 70%. They not only tested your the particular test did not only test your knowledge with the platform, they also test your kind of math skills a bit and
Math
your,
skills?
yeah,
Like what? They ask you like
knowledge.
multiplication. Like what kind of math skill they ask you?
I'm not joking, you know. I think there was one thing about I think if let's say certain things, not really in like math skills, I don't know how to say, like array, like an increment of stuff. I don't know how.
It's more logical, is it? Logical kind of question.
Kind of thing. Yes.
Okay, I thought the math like talking about like they ask
I
you
think
like,
that one I managed to do it. It's just some of the more technical questions, right? I did not manage to complete them in time lah. Because 1.5 hours really very little time to actually do what they
but do you
asked
think
for lah. But I think it was still a valuable experience.
Okay, so do you think anyone? So you say that you don't think anyone can complete it?
No, I don't mean that. Sorry, I'm sure that people can complete it. It's just that at that level, right, I was not prepared lah to complete it lah, because I'm not such an experienced web programmer, you know. But I think it's also because they have an array of different questions also. Most of the time, right, you do have a few specializations, but it's not easy to have like a general knowledge of everything, you know.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You have to work very long, I think, to gain that general experience.
Oh, so how long must you actually work as a
maybe in a startup at least 2-3 years, I don't know.
In a startup lah.
Yeah. Because in a startup, I think they do challenge you.
But nowadays I feel like, I mean, just based on what I hear lah, is that a lot of younger people, I'll say younger people lah, but I would say that new graduates, that they don't really join startups, because I mean, I think a big factor is because of the paycheck lah. Because from, let's say, Facebook, Google, and all these things, they all pay like 6-7K at one go. So people don't really see that kind of like potential to join or that kind of like incentive to join a startup. Yeah. So in your opinion, do you think that people should at least go and try to join a startup first? Because you say you can learn a lot more there, right? Yeah, as compared to, let's say, you work at Google or Amazon or something like that.
I mean, I think it's good to join a startup because you're challenged lah.
That's true.
Yes. And I think I'm encouraged that challenge lah. Not only that, you are also if you have an open mind, right, you are able to actually like, and also if you have the favor of your colleagues and of course your higher up bosses, you're able to actually talk with them. That's the thing.
Yeah lah, correct.
Especially people like the founder, especially in the startup, right? You're able to get like their perspectives, you know, able to actually get their thinking process also, in a sense, understand what they are trying to do.
Yeah lah.
And I think that's very valuable, especially if you yourself want to like do something in the future, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very valuable to actually get like experience and knowledge lah. Even if you may not be like making a lot right now, right? But I think your expansion of your perspective and also the technical knowledge that you gain, right, will help you in future if you actually have plans to actually like build certain systems, or who knows, maybe you have an idea, you know.
Yeah lah, correct.
You yourself can actually build upon lah.
But yeah, I agree completely that like people should actually go and join a startup and gain the experience. Yeah, but people always say that they don't pay a lot long. That's always the big thing. It's like, I mean, like, if let's say you're the number one, you're valedictorian for computer science in NUS or NTU or whatever, and then you get offered 2 jobs, right? One from, let's say, Facebook, that's going to pay you like $8,000 a month, and a startup that will pay you, let's say, $4,000 a month. I mean, the incentive is always going to lean you more towards there. And then, I mean, of course, if the startup itself can pay 8,000, of course, maybe to think about it lah. Because, and also not only that, the startup also do kind of like startups are pretty lean. So it's more likely that you're going to be able to do a much more work as compared to, let's say, working at Facebook. You can more spread out the workload. So that's something that I kind of see that people, that's why they don't really want to join, because they just don't see that kind of how to say, like I wouldn't say it's a short-sighted incentive, because working at Facebook in the long term also is also not say bad. It's a bad thing. Because you're a promoter, you get paid more again, and then
or you can like change to another company and actually have a higher position there. So.
And it's more recognized the company. I mean, if you let's say you have Facebook on your resume, yeah, exactly. So,
but I mean, I guess it's really just up to like, where do you want to be? Do you want to be kind of always working on somebody else's dream, or do you have an intention of like actually building something yourself? In future.
So it's all about what's your future goals lah. Yeah. Okay.
But I think even if you do work like in another company, right, you can always have a dream. I mean, in an established company, you can always have a dream to build something lah. It's just that I think your incentive of leaving will be less.
Okay.
And also, right, you may not actually get the opportunity to actually interact with your top boss so often as compared to mere startup, where they really have like people with really fresh ideas and people who you can just connect to like directly,
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. I think what time? I think it really
3:30 already.
Yeah, I think we have to go soon. So actually I have a lot more questions to ask, but I think we will just end here. And I think I learned a lot from you, especially about game design. And it's still very complicated to me. It's still like a lot of confusion in my brain, and I need to process.
Actually, I mean, if you're able to get like a professional game designer, why not, man? Like, I'm not a professional, so maybe some of the things that I say, people may criticize me. For sure, go ahead lah, because I think I do not have like that level of knowledge yet. But I think I'm willing to learn also, and I think that's my end goal, to actually like.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong, so I don't think anyone would say anything about that lah. Yeah, but very interesting to hear from someone who graduated with film degree or NTU, and then working as a software engineer in Singtel. So that's very. I thought that was quite interesting. Yeah, because I always, to me, like in the back of my head, I always like, how do we link that? Like, how do I, how did that happen? Yeah. So knowing that, it was quite, knowing it now is quite interesting. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Daniel. So
yeah, thanks.
I'll see you soon. Like basically later.
Yeah. Okay.
So any last words you want to say? Please hire.
Thanks, Morris, for the time.
No problem, man. No problem.
Hope I didn't give out too much information, but whatever.
No lah, it wasn't a lot. It wasn't very. I didn't ask you a lot of your company information. Yeah lah, so it wouldn't. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, man. Thank you. Okay, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, let me.